Imagine spending over $2,000 on the newest Magnum rifle. Everyone at the gun shop told you was absolutely essential. You mount the best scope money can buy, carry it through miles of steep mountain terrain, and wait patiently for the opportunity you've dreamed about all year. Then the moment finally arrives. A massive bull elk steps into a narrow opening, just long enough for one clean shot. You squeeze the trigger, the rifle slams into your shoulder, you flinch without even realizing it, and the bullet sails harmlessly over the animal's back. Just like that, months of preparation disappear in a fraction of a second. Now picture something completely different. 50 yards away stands an older hunter carrying a rifle with worn bluing, scratched wood, and decades of memories carved into every inch of its stock. It isn't flashy. It isn't the newest model. It certainly isn't the most expensive rifle in camp. But somehow, season after season, his freezer is always full while everyone else is still debating ballistic charts around the campfire. So what does he know that thousands of hunters don't? Why do experienced guides, outfitters, and lifelong hunters keep returning to the same old cartridges generation after generation, while manufacturers continue convincing new hunters that they need a different rifle for elk, another for deer, another for moose, another for bears, another for long-range shooting, and somehow even another as a backup? The hunting industry has built a billion-dollar business around making you believe that more power always means more success. Every year, there's another faster cartridge, another harder-kicking Magnum, another revolutionary design that's supposedly going to replace every legendary caliber that came before it. But here's the uncomfortable truth very few people are willing to admit. Most hunters don't have a caliber problem. They have a confidence problem. They spend more time shopping than practicing, more time arguing online than shooting at the range, and more money chasing the latest trend than mastering the rifle they already own. Today, we're stripping away decades of marketing hype, internet myths, and gun counter opinions to compare 5 legendary hunting calibers that have actually proven themselves in the real world. We'll look beyond flashy advertisements and examine what truly matters: real hunting performance, recoil, versatility, ammunition cost, and the confidence that comes from thousands of successful hunts. And by the time we reach the #1 caliber, you'll understand why it has survived more than a century of changing technology, and why countless professional guides still trust it when failure simply isn't an option. By the end of this video, there's a very good chance you'll question every hunting rifle purchase you've ever made. Every hunting camp has a story like this. A new hunter shows up carrying the latest rifle everyone has been talking about. It costs more than his first truck, wears a premium scope, and fires one of the hardest-hitting cartridges money can buy. He believes the extra power will make up for his lack of experience. After all, that's what has been told. Bigger cartridge, bigger energy, bigger success. It sounds logical until the moment of truth arrives. As a mature whitetail finally steps into the clearing, his heart pounds, his breathing quickens, and he squeezes the trigger. The rifle explodes against his shoulder with more force than he expected. His eyes close for a split second, his body flinches instinctively, and the bullet sails harmlessly over the deer's back. The opportunity disappears into the timber, leaving behind nothing but silence and regret. A few minutes later, an older hunter quietly shoulders a weathered rifle that has followed him through decades of seasons. There is nothing flashy about it. The bluing is worn, the stock is scratched, and it would never win a beauty contest. But when another deer appears, he settles the crosshairs, squeezes the trigger without hesitation, and makes a clean, ethical shot with a single pull. No drama, no excessive recoil, just confidence built through thousands of rounds fired long before opening day. That is the lesson the hunting industry rarely wants to talk about. Success in the field isn't determined by the biggest cartridge or the loudest muzzle blast. It comes from knowing exactly how your rifle behaves every time you press the trigger. Power alone doesn't fill freezers. Accuracy does. Consistent practice does. Confidence does. And before we compare the 5 legendary hunting cartridges that have earned their reputation across North America, we first need to separate marketing promises from the realities every experienced hunter learns sooner or later. If hunting success were determined by muzzle velocity alone, the fastest cartridge on the market would have ended this debate decades ago, but it hasn't. Every hunting season proves the same lesson. The best caliber isn't the one that looks most impressive on a ballistic chart. It's the one that consistently delivers clean, ethical kills under real-world conditions. That's why, before we rank the 5 legendary cartridges in this video, we need a standard that goes far beyond raw power. A truly great hunting caliber has to excel in far more than one category. It needs enough power to handle the game you're pursuing, a flat enough trajectory to forgive small ranging errors, and manageable recoil that allows you to stay on target and make confident follow-up shots. It also needs affordable ammunition, because the hunter who practices hundreds of times every year will almost always outperform the hunter who only fires a few expensive rounds before opening day. Then there's availability. Can you find ammunition almost anywhere when your hunt takes you across the country? What about barrel life? Will thousands of practice rounds slowly wear out your rifle, or will it remain dependable for years? A great caliber must also offer a wide selection of bullet weights and modern hunting loads, giving hunters the flexibility to pursue everything from white-tailed deer to elk without completely changing their setup. Real hunting distance matters just as much. Most animals across North America are harvested well inside extreme long-range territory where confidence and shot placement matter far more than chasing another 100 feet per second. Finally, perhaps the most important question of all is this: what do experienced guides trust when their reputation depends on one clean shot? Those are the standards that separate marketing hype from proven performance. From this point forward, every cartridge will be judged using the exact same framework: power, trajectory, recoil, ammunition cost, availability, barrel life, versatility, practice potential, bullet selection, real-world hunting performance, and the confidence it inspires in the hunters who rely on it year after year. By the end of this comparison, one caliber will rise above the rest, not because it's the fastest or the most powerful, but because it delivers the best overall balance when everything that truly matters is taken into account. Coming in at number 5 is a cartridge that has earned its reputation the hard way, not through flashy marketing, but through decades of dependable performance. The 308 Winchester was introduced in the early 1950s as the civilian counterpart to the 7.62 NATO military cartridge, and that heritage still defines it today. Built around an efficient short-action design, it burns powder remarkably well, delivering consistent velocities while producing less muzzle blast than many larger cartridges. The result is a rifle that's comfortable to shoot easy to control, and accurate enough to inspire confidence every time you pull the trigger. That manageable recoil is exactly why so many experienced hunters continue to trust the 3008. The more enjoyable a rifle is to shoot, the more likely you'll spend time practicing with it. And when opening day arrives, confidence is worth far more than another few hundred feet per second. In the real world, the 308 has proven itself on an incredible variety of North American game, whether you're chasing whitetail through thick eastern hardwoods, calling in black bears over bait, hunting wild hogs in the south, or hiking western ridges after mule deer. This cartridge has built a reputation for clean, ethical harvests when paired with the right bullet and good shot placement. Ammunition is also widely available and reasonably priced, making regular practice affordable for almost every hunter. Of course, no cartridge is perfect. Once distances begin stretching well beyond typical hunting ranges, the 308 starts giving up some of its advantage. Its trajectory drops more noticeably, and wind becomes a greater factor than with faster cartridges. But before you dismiss it for that reason, remember this: most successful hunts don't happen at extreme distances, and the next cartridge on our list was designed specifically to solve that long-range challenge. At number 4 is a cartridge that has defined open country hunting for nearly a century, the legendary .270 Winchester. Launching a sleek 130-grain bullet at around 3,000 feet per second, it became famous for one simple reason: it shoots incredibly flat. Few hunters helped build that reputation more than Jack O'Connor, whose countless mountain hunts proved that precision and placement could outperform raw horsepower. In the wide-open landscapes of the Rockies or the rolling plains of Wyoming, where a mule deer may appear across a windswept canyon at 400 yards, the .27D0 gives hunters the confidence to hold steady without worrying about excessive bullet drop. For deer, pronghorn, sheep, and most elk-sized game under the right conditions, the .270 delivers impressive real-world performance with moderate recoil and excellent accuracy. However, every great cartridge has its limits. When the hunt involves thick shoulder bones, massive bull moose, or the possibility of an encounter with a brown bear, its lighter, high-speed bullets can give up the deep penetration that larger projectiles are designed to provide. And that's exactly where the next cartridge begins to separate itself from the pack. Taking the number 3 spot is a cartridge that has become almost legendary wherever long shots and unpredictable winds are part of the hunt: the 7mm Remington Magnum. Imagine glassing a distant ridge in the Rocky Mountains when a mature bull elk suddenly appears across a deep canyon. The range is just over 500 yards, and a stiff crosswind is sweeping through the valley. This is exactly the kind of situation where the 7mm Remington Magnum was built to shine. Its sleek, high ballistic coefficient bullets cut through the wind more efficiently than many traditional hunting cartridges, maintaining velocity, resisting drift, and delivering impressive energy even after hundreds of yards of flight. That combination of flat trajectory and excellent wind performance is one reason so many experienced guides and Western hunters continue to trust it for elk, mule deer, and other big game in wide-open country. When the terrain demands precision at extended ranges, the 7mm Remington Magnum offers a level of confidence that few cartridges can match. But that performance comes with a price. Premium ammunition is noticeably more expensive than standard hunting cartridges. and the sharper recoil discourages many hunters from practicing as often as they should. And that's the trade-off every hunter must consider. A cartridge capable of extraordinary long-range performance is only as effective as the person behind the trigger. Because next, we're looking at a caliber that sacrifices nothing when it comes to raw power and has earned its reputation as one of the most formidable hunting cartridges ever created. Claiming the #2 spot is a cartridge that has become almost legendary for one reason above all else: raw, uncompromising power. The .300 Winchester Magnum delivers tremendous downrange energy, a flat trajectory, and the ability to maintain impressive performance at extended distances. Whether you're pursuing bull elk in the Rocky Mountains, calling moose through the Canadian wilderness, or hunting in Alaska, where the possibility of encountering a massive brown bear is never far from your mind, this cartridge has earned its reputation as one of the most capable big game rounds ever developed. It's also a favorite among hunters who regularly stretch shots well beyond typical hunting distances, where retained energy and wind resistance become increasingly important. But here's the question that rarely gets asked: who actually needs this much rifle? If you're a professional guide responsible for stopping wounded game, a Western hunter who spends every season in vast open country, or someone chasing the largest animals North America has to offer, the answer may very well be yes. In those situations, the extra power and reach can provide a meaningful advantage. For the average hunter, however, the picture looks very different. If most of your seasons are spent hunting whitetails in hardwood forests, wild hogs on local properties, or black bears at moderate distances, the tremendous capability of the .300 Winchester Magnum often goes unused. Instead, you're left carrying a heavier rifle, absorbing noticeably more recoil, paying significantly more for ammunition, and practicing less simply because every range session is more expensive and more punishing. That's the paradox of the .300 Winchester Magnum. It is an outstanding cartridge when its strengths are truly required, but for many hunters, those moments are surprisingly rare. The challenge isn't whether it can take almost any game animal in North America. It absolutely can. The real question is whether you need that level of performance often enough to justify its compromises. And that brings us to the one cartridge that may not dominate any single category, yet has quietly outperformed almost every competitor by delivering the best balance of power, versatility, affordability, and real-world hunting success for more than a century. After comparing power, trajectory, recoil, cost, versatility, and real-world performance, one cartridge stands above the rest, not because it dominates every category, but because it has quietly mastered nearly all of them. That cartridge is the legendary .3006 Springfield. Its story began more than a century ago, serving American soldiers through World War I, World War E, and the Korean War. Long before it became a favorite among hunters, it had already earned a reputation for reliability under the harshest conditions imaginable. When those soldiers returned home, many carried their confidence in the cartridge into the mountains, forests, and plains of North America. Decade after decade, guides in Alaska trusted it for moose. Outfitters in the Canadian wilderness relied on it for elk. Hunters in the Rockies packed it into high country, and families across the Appalachians passed it down from one generation to the next. Few cartridges can claim a legacy built not only on ballistics, but on millions of successful hunts spread across more than 100 years. Its greatest strength has never been raw power, its versatility. Load a lightweight 125-grain bullet for varmints or predators. Step up to 150 grains for fast-moving whitetails. Choose 165 grains for an all-around deer and elk load. Move to 180 grains for larger game and deep penetration. Need even heavier options. 200 and 220 grain bullets are available for hunters who demand maximum penetration on the biggest animals. Very few cartridges offer this level of flexibility without asking you to change rifles or completely rethink your setup. One rifle, one cartridge, countless hunting situations. And perhaps that's the secret to its enduring success. It isn't the fastest cartridge ever designed. It isn't the hardest hitting. It isn't the newest, the trendiest, or the one generating headlines every hunting season. Yet walk into almost any sporting goods store, hardware shop, or small-town outfitter anywhere across North America, and there's a good chance you'll still find boxes of .3006 sitting on the shelf, not because of nostalgia, but because generations of hunters continue to buy it, trust it, and prove its value every single season. There is a reason so many modern cartridges have promised to replace the .3006, yet none have truly made it disappear. Great hunting cartridges come and go, marketing trends rise and fade, but a cartridge that delivers dependable performance on everything from whitetails to moose remains affordable to practice with and gives hunters complete confidence when the moment of truth arrives. Doesn't become obsolete, it becomes a legend, and that's exactly why, after more than a century, the .3006 Springfield still earns the #1 spot on this list. After everything we've covered, it's worth asking one final question. Why is it that the hunters who consistently fill their tags are so often the ones carrying the oldest rifles? It isn't because they're resistant to change, and it certainly isn't because they haven't heard about the latest cartridges. It's because years in the field have taught them a lesson that can't be learned from advertisements or ballistic charts. Old hunters understand that the moment of truth lasts only a few seconds, and in those few seconds, mindset matters more than muzzle energy. They know that perfect shot placement will always outperform reckless power. They know that patience is often the difference between forcing a bad shot and waiting for the right one. They know how to read the wind instead of hoping a faster bullet will ignore it. They know how to judge distance, control their breathing, and squeeze the trigger without anticipations because they've repeated those fundamentals thousands of times. Perhaps most importantly, they trust their rifle completely. They've practiced with it through rain, snow, heat, and countless range sessions until operating it becomes second nature. That confidence can't be bought with a more expensive scope or a more powerful cartridge. It's earned one shot at a time. In the end, the hunters who keep succeeding year after year aren't usually the ones chasing the newest trends. They're the ones who have mastered the timeless skills that every ethical hunt depends on. Because cartridges may change, technology will continue to evolve, but confidence, discipline, patience, and precision will always remain the most powerful tools any hunter can carry into the field. Every generation of hunters is told the same story. This new cartridge is faster. That one shoots flatter, another hits harder than anything that came before it. Every few years, a new release promises to change hunting forever, and, for a while, many people believe it will. But then another season passes, another generation steps into the woods, and somehow the same familiar names keep appearing in rifle racks, hunting camps, and family cabins across North America. That isn't because hunters are afraid of innovation. It's because the field has a way of exposing the difference between marketing and reality. When you're standing in freezing rain, hiking through the Rockies before daylight, or waiting silently in an Appalachian hardwood forest. As your heartbeat grows louder with every passing second, you stop caring about advertisements and begin trusting only what has proven itself over time. The greatest hunting cartridge has never been the one with the highest velocity or the biggest numbers printed on the box. It's the one that gives you complete confidence when the only shot that matters finally presents itself. Because in the end, animals aren't harvested by ballistic charts. They're harvested by calm decisions, disciplined practice, and a hunter who knows exactly where that bullet is going before the trigger is ever pulled. So before you spend another paycheck chasing the latest trend, ask yourself one simple question. If tomorrow someone took away every rifle you own and told you that you could keep only one for the rest of your hunting life, which caliber would you choose and why? I'd genuinely like to hear your answer. Drop it in the comments below. Whether you stand by the timeless .3006, swear by the .308 Winchester, trust the reach of the 7mm Remington Magnum, or believe another cartridge deserves the crown, join the conversation. Some of the best hunting stories and the best debates always begin around that single question.